Hey guys, welcome back to the Foolish Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Michigan just wrapped up their 75-73 victory over the Purdue Boilermakers in Ann Arbor tonight, and I have to be honest, after Michigan was destroyed 91-64 in West Lafayette, Indiana, I said on the Foolish Show that I didn't think Michigan had a chance in the Big Ten, and I was fine with that. I mean, this is the first year of Dusty May's tenure, and I was fine with that. You're going to have a bad game. That was a bad game. And, it kind of, to me, showed Michigan was not in that top tier. Michigan State, Purdue are the top tier of the Big Ten. But lo and behold, a few weeks after that loss, that crushing blowout loss, Michigan's rebounded relatively well. I mean, I wish they would, win some games by a little bit wider margin. But when you look at it in the big scheme of things, Michigan has rattled off 5 straight wins. In fact, if you go back all the way to the Northwestern overtime game, Michigan has won their last 6 games. I mean, the 6 games they've won by less than 5 points, I believe it is. So Michigan has had a lot of experience now winning tight games, and you saw the advantage of that in this game tonight. Talk about the game a little bit. First half was, it was really like this the whole game till the final 4 minutes, where Purdue would go out to push the lead out to like 8, 10 points, something in that range, and Michigan would come back on a 5-0, 7-0, 9-0 run to get back in the game. And Purdue never got that gigantic lead. They never were able to really just put together a 3-4 minute spurt to just get it to 20 points, something like that. And at halftime, Michigan was able to chip away and was only down by 2 points, 37-35, 2-point lead. Michigan ended that half, I think, on a 9-0 run, and it might have been 11-3 over the last few minutes of that first half to just bring themselves back into the game. The second half, the first half was offensive and pretty entertaining. The second half, the first 10 minutes, both teams had 10 points. It was really struggling. But Michigan was able to pull it out. They stayed close. Every time Purdue pushed the lead a little bit, Michigan pulled it back. And at the 4-minute mark, Michigan, I believe, got the first lead, especially in the second half. It was 67-66, something like that, with 3 minutes to go in the game. And Michigan's just been able to make the right plays, enough of the best plays, the good plays, to pull out these victories. Now, they did it again. You get some nice layups, you get some nice threes by Trey, and Michigan gets the win. The one downside, I mean, they still won the game. But, you had a couple, Danny Wolf missed 2 clutch free throws there at the very, very, very end, which would have turned it into a no chance to lose game, into a you could have lost the game if Purdue hits their 3-pointer at the end of the game. But Michigan gets enough to get it done. Now let's talk about some of the players of the game. You got to give it to Gale. Gale Jr., man, he played a solid game. He was 5 of 10, I believe it was, 5 of 10 from the floor. He had, I'm trying to see where he is, bounce back, yep. He had 5 of 10 shooting. He had 14 points, I believe, and 7 rebounds. I might have that a little bit wrong, but 14 points. The last game, he was 1 for 5 shooting. Tonight, he was 5 of 10. He was much more engaged in the game. And only 3 turnovers. That's great when it's only 3 turnovers. Speaking of turnovers, if my CBS box score was correct, Michigan only had 11 turnovers for the whole game. They had 8 in the first half and finished with 11. So that's excellent. I mean, anytime for Michigan especially, you can hold it under 15, you're doing great. That's what really fueled Purdue to explode and destroy Michigan in the first matchup, was the turnovers, and Michigan couldn't hit anything. Tonight, Michigan was able to get it done. You had Danny Wolf led the way with 15 points, 9 rebounds on 5 of 11 shooting. Trey was 12 points on 4 of 8 shooting. Vlad, 12 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Excellent, right? You had 3 guys in double figures. You had some decentness. Obviously, you had Gale with 14 off the bench, so that's great to see that. So you had 4 guys in double figures. That's a really good recipe to get a victory. Now, I know Michigan is still battling out the Big Ten. It is and they have lots and lots of tough games left. But getting a victory over the number 7 team in the country is another feather in the cap for Michigan as they look forward to making the NCAA tournament. As it stands now, unless there's an absolute colossal collapse, Michigan will make the tournament. Now the question is, what is their avenue to get to it? Are they going to stay in the Big Ten race? Right? They go to Columbus to play Ohio State Sunday. Big game there, trap game if you will. They got big games, and you just off this high of beating Purdue. Don't get trapped, right? You got to play a good game on the road in a hostile environment. You got to do that. Then they got to play Michigan State 2 times, one home and away, obviously. What can they do there? At least you got to split home and home, hopefully, and keep yourself in the Big Ten race. Everything here is gravy because this is Dusty May's first year, and okay, man, this is looking great. Hopefully he can keep this up. Kason played a good bit. Pippen played a good bit. So you got to see some of those younger guys that he recruited making an impact, playing time, and that's great. Building on that. Pippen looks very comfortable out there. Kason, he was fine. Nothing terrible, nothing glaring. So it's really good to see those young guys getting experience in big-time games like this because next year they're probably going to be the starters. Oh, just look here, any more thing. Yeah, just got to say, great victory for Michigan to get the win. It proves they can play with really good teams. And, don't get me wrong, every night is a new game and a new night. And you might say, well, Michigan could play with good teams too, and then they got obliterated by Purdue at Purdue. So, yeah. It depends how you're playing and how your opponent's playing. But you know what? Michigan gets the win. They improved to 18-5 on the season and 11-2 in the Big Ten. So they're, I think, currently in first place by a half game over Michigan State. I believe Purdue has 3 losses now. I could be wrong there, but I think Michigan's actually a half game up now in the Big Ten standings. But it's a long way to go. And so just focus on the next game. Focus on Ohio State. One game at a time. Hey guys, if you have any thoughts, put them in the box below. I'll try to respond as I'm able to. Until next time, thanks for watching, and as always, go Blue.